Hey there, YouTube. It is Michelle. I'm coming to you on the YT. It's Friday, and I am excited to share with you some more heirloom envelopes that I've created using the Amity Bloom pocketbook tutorial / class that Nazi has created, and I'm having a blast making these. I shared with you my heritage ones that I did earlier in the week. So there's that set. I'm in the process now of working on, there's another set that I've started. So I've got them, going. But let me show you what I finished yesterday. Here's a set that I've created with a leather look. And so let me show you, I'll show you these more, but let me show you what the ingredients were. So first of all, again, for those of you who didn't know, my dad was an architect, and he's been in business since '61, so it was a long time. Needless to say, the office here has gobs of fun pieces that I try to use in crafting because, junk journals, you're supposed to use junk you have and not go buy things. So we have these great 10 by 10 envelopes, and I don't know if you can see the coloring, but probably since these were some of the first ones he designed, they're pretty yellowed already. We also had just some of the accounts payable envelopes as well, and I used a 6 by 9 mailer envelope. So in the class, Nazi talks about using white envelopes. They're the best or the easiest, or cream color to coffee dye to get that initial color. If you have some that are already antiqued, that's fabulous. I decided to use these as they were. I didn't coffee dye because I knew that I was going to do another finish on the envelopes to create leather-like portfolios. So what I used was this Kiwi Shine brown shoe polish on the envelopes. I used some Mod Podge to seal. I used Stays On ink for distressing. I tried Ranger ink, but because of the finish on the envelopes, it was just wiping off, so I went to something a little bit more sturdy. I did some stenciling. I had this great Prima stencil here, and so I guess all this stuff is probably going to be backwards to you guys. Maybe it won't be, but anyway. And I used some of the Ranger clear texture paste. Love this clear. It doesn't have a color, so that way the color that's underneath comes through, and it's a lot easier to colorize or change the color as needed. And then I used some Rub and Buff. I used collage pieces that Nazi has within the class, and I printed them on tissue, but the only tissue I had at the house or here at the office was brown. Yes, white is better, especially for when you're doing the coffee dye, because you can only imagine this dark brown on here is just way off. You'd have to do a lot of coloring to the envelopes for it not to look crazy. But because I was going to do this leather look, it came out perfect. So let me show you up close what I've created. I'm so excited. I think they came out fabulous. So here is my collection of envelopes. And so it's the Heirloom class. And the only thing that's different is instead of just using a coffee dyed envelope, I did the technique that makes them look leather-like. So these are more like leather pouches or portfolios, and I love that. So let's look at them individually. So here's what I started with. This normal bills envelope. I'm not sure why the color's so funky. There you go. Normal envelope, and this is what I created. So you can see where I've put the texture. I stenciled up top here. Again, I distressed using the StazOn, mainly because the surface was so slick and the StazOn appears to, or well, adheres better. So I've dressed up the window. When I baked this one, I just took the window out. When you're coffee dyeing these with those little plastic, you have to be careful because if the oven is too hot, you'll melt your plastic. But anyway, so here's this. I've got the script stamping on here. I've collaged some of the tissue pieces down there, and there's that, and you can see where I have added the rub and buff to the sides to make it antiqued. Hanging off of here, I have one of my vintage beads. So it's a boho bead, but it's done with laces and more vintagey colors as opposed to boho colors. And you can see I've just put a piece of lace over the top, and this is just all straight from Hobby Lobby. Lace over the top of the window and there. And so my theme is a young co-ed going to college on a train. And so what inspired this collection is a piece of ephemera that I have. My grandfather worked for the railroads. He was a fireman on the railroads. And this is an actual railroad pass that my grandmother used to take my aunt to college. Wow, found it. I've actually copied it on some canvas. Just I like the texture of it and feel of it. But yeah, I found this piece of ephemera. And so that is what inspired this collection today. So I've got my pass for the train trip. So here's a leather portfolio here with the 6x9 mailer envelope. So I started with this, and this is how it ended up. Again, you can see the stenciling on the corner. I've got some script stamp here. And funny thing about this script stamp, it's a Tim Holtz, so I forget which company does the rubber stamps. There's Sizzix, no. Oh, anyway, you get what I mean. But these are the ones that are backwards. And they're supposed to be so that if you stamp on acrylic and turn it over, you can see it reads correctly. But I just like the look of it. So no, you can't read the writing because it's backwards, but that's okay. This was an ATC that I made. I was following one of Tim Holtz demos, and they were talking about doing masking. And so I made this, I created this ATC called Cherish, and it has the railroad theme. So that kind of goes along with my theme today. And so let me show you what I have tucked in here, our pictures and ephemera. So we've got some people at the train station, so they're waiting for their train. So this was just a random picture. These are all vintage pictures that I pulled up for either train trips or for Howard University. And so here is the young co-ed, her baby brother is waiting with her while she is waiting for the train. Here were some very stylish ladies who were about to embark on a train trip. So she has some other memorabilia. She's got a picture of her and her boyfriend on campus. This was from last year, so she's looking forward to seeing it. Here's one of her girls on the yard. She took a picture of her. Here's her crazy roommate doing her nails. And this was a picture of some classmates. And of course, if you look at them, you can tell they're all different years. But anyway, you get the idea, just to give it that vintage feel. So that was included in here. And then we have the 10 by 10. And so here it is. Remember, it had the labeling. It had the address, Dad's business address and stuff on it there. So I took the 10 by 10 envelope, and I used, again, the shoe polish. And you can do this with distressing, but it takes a lot of distressing. Shoe polish is cheaper and it's easier. So thank you, Crafty Irene. So I've, put some of the tissue paper here. There was texture paste in this corner as well as in this corner here. I have distressed it with some black stays on, and then I use the rub and buff around the sides to kind of antique it. And then let me show you the back. So see, I did that stenciling. It started here, and I just did this whole corner here. And I've got a lace collage up here to cover the label, or the return address, I guess. Yeah, and there's nothing included in this one yet, but I'm thinking of maybe a journal or something. But yeah, so I am having a blast with this class, just creating and creating. Love the way this came out. Totally different. Still heirloom, just a little different than some of the ones that Nazi has made to show. But it just shows how versatile her class is, that you can take the ideas and create something of your own. So anyway, I hope everybody's having a great Friday. Hit me up if you have any questions. Just put them in the comment bar below. And I look forward to touching base with you. Hope everybody's having a great day, and we will see you soon. Bye.